Hey Meno Warriors, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kate Hartley and each Monday I share a weekly video with you about something related to menopause. Today I'm actually talking about how to rev up your metabolism to help you burn fat more effectively in menopause. We hear all the time, oh, my metabolism's slow, so I can't lose fat. Genetics do play a certain role, but I really want you to understand that you're not stuck with that. There is so much that you can do. It's an absolute fact that as we get older and as we go through the menopause, even if you're younger and going through the menopause earlier, it does have a negative impact on our metabolism and our ability to build lean muscle and also to burn fat more effectively. As estrogen falls, cortisol, one of our stress hormones, rises. As cortisol rises, that makes insulin, which is our fat storing hormone, rise. And so we already have this predicament where our body is going to just naturally hang on to more fat. And also cortisol has a breaking down effect, which means that it breaks down, as well as the tissues and our skin, making us go more wrinkly and droopy. It also breaks down muscle tissue and connective tissue too, which can also contribute to sore joints. So if it's breaking down muscle tissue faster than it used to do, necessarily that means that we have to actively build lean muscle to stop that happening. And we completely can do. We have so much more power at our fingertips than we think we do. And I really want you, if you take nothing else from this, is to think there is actually quite a lot that I can do still. I very nearly resigned myself to the fact that I was just going to get fatter and frumpier, and I didn't really recognize myself. And I can't stop the southward droop too much, unfortunately, unless I go through the surgery process. I'm not a great fan of Botox, and I've never done it, and nothing against Botox. I have nothing against anything that anyone wants to do. There are so many judges, people out there, and people with very strong opinions. Ultimately, do what suits you best. Understand that we're all different. We all have different environments, different drivers. Some of us age better than others. Some of us don't age so well. And that's just the way it goes. So long as you're happy and it's not hurting anyone else, who gives a poop what somebody else might negatively judge you as? But just coming back to this metabolism thing, because when you can keep your metabolism revved up, it will help you burn fat more effectively. You'll feel more energized. You will find that starving yourself and overdoing exercise is actually the thing that you need to avoid. The other good thing is that you can actually eat more and work out less and get really, really great results. And I'm going to break that all down for you today. So first of all, I'm just going to go over the things that can negatively impact your metabolism before I go into the solutions that I would suggest for you. Firstly, your genes. We cannot affect whether we got born in a pair of Levi's 501s or whether we are Wrangler. Yeah, whatever you're born with, you've got. But I think a lot of us hear and also use the excuse that, oh, it's my genes, I can't help it. I know people who are unnecessarily bigger than they should be and healthier bigger than they should be because they use the genes excuse. I also know that their trolley is laden with fast carbs, processed foods, things that are going to make them fat. And while they do eat salads occasionally and they do eat fresh vegetables, if you're piling in the refined carbs and the unhealthy stuff, what do you expect? So it is very much about, yes, genes do play a role, but there's also so much that you can do about that. It's also like our natural shape. We all come in different shapes and sizes. And while we can't change our sort of bone structure, we can definitely change. You know, if you were born with very narrow shoulders, you can build up your shoulders with lean muscle. If you were born with very wide hips, you know, you've probably got a lovely curvy waistline. You know, focus on the things that are the benefits rather than the not benefits as you might see them. But it's really important that you do recognize that we're all entirely different, but we are not so different that we cannot lose weight effectively and we cannot build lean muscle effectively too. So genes does have a role to play. You might be lucky, in which case, great, go you. You may be unlucky, in which case you might have to work a little bit harder, but you can still achieve healthy goals throughout the rest of your life. Stress, chronic stress, as in long-term stress, will negatively impact your metabolism. It just has that breaking down. It's a bit like the straw that breaks the camel's back. It really is a bit like that. Cortisol, like I said earlier, it breaks down tissue. So it gobbles up our bone cells, it gobbles up our muscles, gobbles up connective tissue, collagen, elastin. However, long-term stress also spikes your insulin. So that means you lose your sensitivity to insulin, which can make you insulin resistant, can lead to pre-diabetes, diabetes 2. Did quite an in-depth Menopause Monday on that not long ago. When insulin is high for a long period of time, it will have a negative impact on your metabolism. You're going to just feel weary. You're going to feel more fatigued. So it's about thinking, okay, I'm feeling weary. I'm feeling fatigued. I don't really feel like doing the things that are going to help boost my metabolism. But how long are you going to stay in that rut for? Because that rut just gets deeper and deeper. So it is about you taking a few steps, which actually are probably easier than you think they're going to be, to get started and to continue. And I just make them small steps to begin with. Don't put your body into shock with anything crazy, but just start taking small positive steps. If you need help with that, in the description below, if you're watching this on YouTube, the Sparkle Back form, fill that in. I'll get back in touch with you and I will be able to help you where you're at. It might be that you have a lack of iodine. So trendy salts, for instance, like the sea salt, the Himalayan rock salt, they haven't been processed, so they're not processed salts. When salt is processed, generally it's ionized, which actually adds a small amount of iodine to it. Iodine can positively or negatively impact our thyroid. Thyroid, as you probably know, an underactive thyroid can make you gain weight, and it can make you feel really fatigued and just lacking in motivation for anything. A an overactive thyroid has the opposite effect. It sort of revs you up, makes you lose weight faster, and actually can make you feel very, very poorly as well. So iodine is one of those things. We can't make it naturally. We need to get it from food sources, things like beef liver, shellfish, some fortified foods, baby formula, eggs, chicken, dairy products like meat, milk, cheese, yogurt, etc. Those contain iodine. We don't need much, but just make sure that you are eating enough of those products. If you're vegan, make sure that you're getting enough iodine in your diet. So we know that metabolism tends to slow down as we get older. So what to do? I will link in at the end of this video, but also in the box below, about the science behind why we get fat. It's really important that you understand that concept. I did include slides in that Menopause Monday because I think when we talk about hormones, it gets really confusing. It helps you understand insulin and the role of insulin in our body. So take a look at that, because it will give you a good foundational understanding of what I'm about to go into the rest of this. But as we've been doing the calories in versus calories out equation for far too long, it's too simplistic. Calories are not created equal. Calories from refined, processed, chemical food, what would you even call it, food, versus whole foods, they're not the same. So the processed, refined chemicals are going to set off a chain reaction of events in your body that are ultimately going to cause stress and going to lead you to hang on to fat, belly fat, and fat all around your body. If you're eating a range of whole foods, they're going to fill you up for longer. And if you get your macros balanced right, you will be ticking all the boxes you need to. So I will go into that in a little bit more detail in a few minutes. But just make sure, if you're eating a wide range of fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, lean meats, if you're not veggie or vegan, or healthy protein alternatives and healthy fats, that is going to keep you fuller for longer. It will tick all the nutritional boxes that you need. That will then help you build lean muscle, maintain lean muscle, and also feel full enough, energized enough that you're not then craving the sweeter things that so many of us are tempted with when we're eating the junk. Technically, your metabolism adapts, your body adapts. So with the traditional restriction diet, you're starving your body. Well, you're not giving it as much food as you need. And yes, you need to be in a calorie deficit to a degree to lose weight, but is it losing weight that you want to achieve, or do you want to burn fat? There's a really important differential here, because getting skinny is not healthy either. Burning fat effectively is what I think you want to aim for. You want to be building lean muscle. You want to be strong. You don't want to be skinny. You don't want to look like a stick. You want to be able to achieve things in life rather than being frail and prone to bone fractures and falling over and that sort of thing. So, for instance, if I were to go on if I were to eat the right amount of calories for me to lose weight, I'd be aiming sort of 1,200 to 1,500 calories a day. If I wanted to eat the right amount of calories to build muscle, to go for like muscle building properly, I'd need to be eating around 2,200 calories a day. It's a huge difference, isn't it? So, you know, the number of calories, again, isn't really the best way to do it. The scale gives you some kind of indication. I rarely step on the scale, and I don't really encourage my customers to step on the scale either, unless you want a starting point. If you've got a significant amount of weight to lose, I would step on the scale because it gives you a starting point. And if you've got significant fat, you are always going to lose weight, even though you'll be hopefully replacing some of that fat with lean muscle. The trajectory will be to lose weight. You know, it's not healthy to be 200 pounds or or more than that. So you want to be bringing your weight down into the healthy sort of bracket. And then once you're in that, it doesn't really matter that much. So long as you're, within that, you've got rid of a lot of the excess fat, because fat also acts like a sponge. It significantly increases your risk of certain cancers. It also creates estrogen. And you might be thinking, well, don't I need more estrogen because my estrogen's falling? Your estrogen falls slower than your progesterone and your testosterone, which is why you hear of estrogen dominance. You don't want to be dominant in anything. So no, you don't want that excess estrogen being created in your body. Your adrenal glands, actually, if you manage your stress effectively, your adrenal glands are designed naturally to do the job of the ovaries when they go into retirement. In a healthy person, really, you shouldn't be having symptoms at all. And that is a bit of a sweeping statement. And I hope I haven't offended anyone by saying that. I still get symptoms, and I know why I'm getting them, because I've either eaten or drunken normally the wrong thing, or I've not slept very well. When I'm teetotal, my symptoms pretty much vanish. I did a gut healing system. My symptoms completely went. And then when I started to have like the odd chocolate croissant, if I go to the supermarket, I rarely go to the supermarket because we live miles away from anywhere really. And so my trips to the supermarket are few and far between. And so occasionally when I do, my treat, if I'm is to have a chocolate croissant. I know it's completely devoid of nutrition. Probably shouldn't even be admitting that, but hey, here we are. We're all human. And I know once I've had that, I'm going to have cravings for the rest of the day, and I have a hot flush afterwards, and I just don't feel very good. And why the heck do I actually eat the chocolate croissant? It's stupid, isn't it? So coffee is the same. That will trigger a hot flush. So normally we're in control of these things. I think until you become aware of it, you don't actually realize quite how much in control you are. But I would track your food and drink, see what affects you negatively, see what makes you go to the toilet more easily, or what makes you more constipated, see what you've eaten the day before. Did you sleep well that night, or didn't you sleep well that night? It's probably largely related to, not all the time what you've eaten and been drinking, but in a large part it is as well. What we feed ourselves really does translate into how we show up in life. And it's like if you put the wrong fuel in your car, it's going to falter and stutter. It's exactly the same with us. If we're fueling ourselves with the wrong stuff, we're going to falter and stutter. So when you're restricting your body beyond where its natural healthy point is, your metabolism just slows down. Your body will always go for survival. So it will start to, you won't build muscle anymore. It'll start to break down your muscles because it doesn't care whether you've got muscles or not. It just wants you to survive. And then normally when you are restricting, eventually everybody stops restricting because it's so hard to maintain, and it's just so awful anyway, restricting. So when you do start to eat, normally you actually put more weight on than you did before you even started to lose weight. That's that yo-yo diet cycle. And the reason for that is because the body thinks, right, she's giving me food, I'm going to hang on to it this time just in case she starves me again. And that sort of food, that fat retention will peter out. So when you're moving from, if you've been restricting quite severely, just incorporate a few extra things gradually so that your body doesn't go, I'm going to hang on to everything, and all of a sudden you feel like, oh my God, I've put on 10 pounds in a week or something. That's highly unlikely to happen. But, just to avoid that shock on the scale if you are getting on the scale. Now, the reason the scale is a poor indicator too is because, yes, it tells you your weight, but it doesn't tell you how healthy you are. It doesn't tell you your bone density, doesn't tell you about your muscle mass. Those smart scales, the Dara smart scale is one I've got. I think they're really helpful because you might see your weight go up, but you've also seen your bone mass has gone up, your muscle mass has gone up. So that is really, really important. You want to see those going up. You take your measurements before you start or change anything. Take your measurements around your belly. I always take my waistline, my natural waistline, and the sort of the fattest, the biggest part of my belly. And I just use those as my indicators. You can do your arms and your legs and everything else, but I just think that's, to be honest, I think the belly's just as good. Otherwise, it takes forever to do all the measuring. And if it's cold weather, you've got like the cold tape around your body, bad enough around your waist, not other parts of your body too. So, and then before photos as well, before and after photos. Take your photos before you start anything. I know nobody wants to do it, but do it, because once you've got to your goal, you want to have those as your comparison. And I would take your photos every 30 days. Or if you're following, like we're about to kick off a 21-day challenge. By the way, if you want to be part of that, again, fill in that Sparkle Back form. I'll get in touch with you. We're kicking off on 3rd of June. So I'd love for you to do that with us. It's going to be good fun. It's going to be 30-minute workouts, no more. All modifiable. You can do them zero impact if you want to. And most people lose between 8 and 15 pounds doing that. And that is also while building lean muscle. So you want to be building lean muscle. When you've got more muscle in your body, that boosts your metabolism. When you've got more muscle, you're burning more calories. So even by changing nothing else, if you changed nothing else, of course, you're going to start eating healthier or more nutritious food and more of it too. But if you did not change anything else, just by the fact you've got more muscle will mean that you're burning more calories. So you're going to be burning more fat. You may not weigh less, but you'll be burning more fat. So your measurements, your physique, your shape will improve significantly. If we want to build lean muscle, we need to be feeding the muscles with what they need. As we go through menopause, it is just more difficult to get enough protein. We don't synthesize protein as well as we used to do before menopause. So it means that eating healthy protein is more important than ever. So to understand how much protein you need, you want your ideal body weight. So say that's 140 pounds. You want 140 grams of lean, healthy protein every day. And that is quite a thing. It's quite a challenge to achieve. I'll drop the link to the Powerful Proteins guide beneath this video. It's a free download. Have a look at that. I put it together for myself to begin with, and then I made it look a bit better to hand out to people because I thought I'm easily eating enough protein. And then when I looked at it, it's just like, actually, I'm not. And I drink a protein shake every day. And after I've done a strength training workout, I have a protein recovery drink as well. And even with those two, I still struggle to eat enough protein every single day. And I love meat. I love protein sources. It's not like I don't like those sorts of foods. So it is quite an effort to make sure you're eating enough protein. If you're not eating enough protein, you're going to really struggle to build. In fact, you will not build the lean muscle that you need to. So the beauty of it is that you get to eat more than you would otherwise normally do. And the food that you are eating, because they're whole foods, it's healthy food, it fills you up for longer. It feels so good when you're eating enough and you're staying full and you actually really get to enjoy your meals. You get to the end of it, you think, oh, I actually feel really satiated now. And you know it's going to keep you going for a while until your next meal. And it just makes you feel so good. It makes you feel happy, and you can see the results, you can feel the results, you just feel stronger and leaner inside of yourself. If you're walking, you can think, oh, I've got like an indentation. My it's not like it's bulging out. I can actually feel that there's a gap there when I'm walking because of your waistline going in. Things like that make a huge difference. Also, remember that we live in a disposable society. We want things like instantaneously, don't we? And then we chuck it away. It's not like that with getting healthy. It is an investment in yourself. And sometimes it does take time. It takes time to build lean muscle. It takes time to change your shape. It takes time just to understand the nutrition to such a degree that it becomes second nature. It takes time sometimes to find the workout program that you love doing. It just takes time for you to find that motivation sometimes to think, I don't care, I'm going to bloody do it today, because otherwise today will end up like yesterday and I still won't have started, even though I promised it to myself back in January. We have to one day decide, this is my drawing the line in the sand moment, and I'm actually stepping beyond that bloody line today, and this is it. What I think with a community, like I work with my ladies, and I'm not saying this to try and you've got to come and join us, but I promise you, if you did, you're going to love it. It does work. But I think when you've got a community of people doing it with you, whether that's at the gym or you do a local boot camp, however that works best for you, having it with other people, it does make you show up. It does keep you more accountable. And there is something very powerful in that. So if you really do struggle with motivation, I know it might be a bit scary to reach out to your local boot camp or to fill in the form under in my bio thing, but it doesn't mean you're committing yourself for life. But I promise you, once you've got started, you will commit yourself for life because you feel so much better. There are days when I don't feel like doing a bloody thing. I promise you, I don't show up every day thinking, oh, great, I get to work out. There's many days when I just think, ooh. But I know 5 minutes in, it's just like, yeah, this is making me feel so much better. And it gets you through the deepest, darkest times of your life. A strong body gives you a strong brain. It helps burn up stress hormones, and we've all got way more of those than we need right at the moment. So I just don't even question myself on those days. I don't ask myself, shall I do it? Shan't I do it? It's just there. It's done. It's in the diary. I get it done. And when you stop questioning, do you want to or don't you? You just do it. It becomes a habit. So start small, bite little bits off, and know that it will take time. Your body may even gain a little bit of weight in the earlier days if you've been restricting seriously. But don't see that as a negative. See it as a positive. See it as a positive for change. That is the catalyst. It might be also if you're starting a new fitness routine or a strength training routine, that your muscles become inflamed, and inflammation means that they're hanging on to fluid, and that fluid weighs. If you've eaten a salty meal the night before, or things like rice, those tend to make you bloat as well. If you're still getting your periods, but they're sporadic, there are certain times in the month you hang on to more fluid. So don't beat yourself up if the scale isn't showing you the result that you want to see. Just how are you feeling in your body? How are you feeling in your mind? Let that be the thing that keeps guiding you. And eventually, even if your measurements don't budge to begin with in the first 7-10 days, maybe even 3 weeks, if you've got a lot of toxins in your body, it will take time for your body to think, okay, now I can release them. It can take up to 6 weeks for that to happen. That is quite a long time. But even if it is 6 weeks, stick with it, because 6 weeks is nothing in the greater scheme of things. Persevere. It's highly likely you'll see changes sooner than that. But at the worst case scenario, just know that it might take 6 weeks for your body just to readjust, to think, oh gosh, she's feeding me with stuff that I need now, and I can stop that stress response, and I don't have to hang on to the fat anymore. And oh, okay, I'm going to start to shed fat, and oh, this is good. I'm going to feel better. Sometimes that's what we have to allow to happen inside our body. So just stick with it. Be patient. Go for the long-term result and stick with it. Start small and build up and build up. Water is going to be one of your best allies as well. Water will help. That also helps keep your metabolism boosted, but it also helps you burn fat. I have a friend of mine, he loves drinking wine. He loves his whiskey. And he was a bit overweight. He'd had a cancer scare, and he also broke his thigh bone just randomly. So a lot of things were going wrong all of a sudden, and he thought, okay, I don't want to actually give up my wine, because he loves his wine, but he knew he needed to lose weight. So he started strength training and just adding more water. He didn't change what he ate at all, didn't reduce his alcohol at all, but drank lots more water, started strength training. And the next time I saw him, I don't see him very often, it's every few months, it's just like, my goodness, what are you doing? And this is after he'd gone through cancer treatment. He looked so well. I could not believe it. So there are, a few tweaks that we can do to make a really big difference. And when I talk about eating whole foods and cleaning up your act, as it were, I'm teetotal at the moment, but I love wine. I love beer. If people have a thing that you drink alcohol, just quit the judging. I think we're all so quick to judge and be the keyboard warriors. As long as you're not hurting anybody else, it doesn't matter. If you enjoy it, enjoy your glass of wine. It really does not matter. And people will say you should do this and you shouldn't do that. It's for life, and we all come from different backgrounds. We're all raised differently. In the olden days, they used to drink beer and wine because the water was so vile. So yeah, somebody would say, well, they didn't live very long. Well, it's probably down to other factors as well. But at the end of the day, just keep it with something that you can maintain long term. Yeah, if you're drinking too much alcohol, that is not going to be good for you. But I think we all have our little pedestals, which it's very easy to jump onto, and I think we should all be off those more often. So in summary, focus on protein, eating lots of protein, healthy protein. Focus on eating whole foods that are going to help boost your metabolism, and they're going to reduce that chemical stress that is going to make your metabolism slow down. Drink plenty of water. Sleep is also really important. If you're sleeping badly, it's going to have a negative impact on every aspect of your life. It makes you want to eat the faster foods the next day. Same if you're still having periods. There are times of your month you're going to want to eat more of the unhealthy foods. I remember those days really, really well. Just do what you can, do your best, and don't beat yourself up if you have days where it all goes to pot. We're going for the long-term improvement trajectory. We're not going for perfection and sterile, dogmatic, oh my God, this is such a boring way of living, because that's not sustainable either. Commit to long-term change and know that you completely can do it. So I hope this is helpful. I'd be really interested to hear your comments. Have you found that, do you struggle with your genetics? Is thyroid an issue for you? What have you done that has helped you burn fat more effectively, build lean muscle? And if you're really struggling, just reach out to me. You can either fill in that Sparkle Back form, come and find me on Instagram. I'm at Kate Hartley UK, or you can send me an email, katehartleyuk@gmail.com, and they're all linked below in any case. I appreciate sometimes leaving a comment on YouTube isn't the most private place, and so you can get me privately on Instagram or by email. So thank you so much for your company. I hope you found this helpful, and I'll look forward to chatting with you next week.